Good evening. You're welcome back to the topic that I promised you that I'm going to upload that one today. That is cognitive learning theory by Jean Piaget. So these are the keywords that is going to be running through our discussions. Schema, assimilation, accommodation, equilibration. And these are also the four stages developed by Jean Piaget. That's a sensorimotor stage, preoperational stage, concrete operational stage, and formal operational stage. So Jean Piaget developed these four cognitive stages, and we are going to discuss them one after the other. So let's set the ball rolling. But if you have not also subscribed, please try and unsubscribe. Okay, so before that, let's also focus what cognitivism learning theory about. Well, cognitivism focuses on how the mind takes in, that is encoding, process, stores, and retrieves information. So cognitivism focuses on how learners think, understand, and I remember information. So here we are dealing with the mind, unlike the behavioralism, where we deal with the behavior aspect. So unlike behaviorism, which emphasizes on observable actions, cognitive doesn't see that one way. Cognitive sees learning as an internal mental process where students actively process and organize information to create meaning. All right, so cognitive actually focuses on the mind, the brain, how the brain processes information, how the brain stores information, and how the brain retrieves information. Okay, so this is about the cognitive learning theory. Now let's delve into that. Now, memory plays a central role in the cognitive development. So it says that learning involves encoding, that is taking in information and storing and retrieving it later when needed. So what is encoding about? Though I've said something about encoding over here, but let's delve into here. It says that this is the process of taking in new information through senses and transforming it into form that the brain can also understand and store. So when you're taking in information, you are encoding that information, but it's supposed to be something the brain can understand and also can store. For example, hearing a teacher explaining a concept or reading a text. So that's it. You also have storage. After encoding, information is kept in the memory for over time. So here we are storing the information. Information can be stored for short-term memory, as temporal holding space, and also it can also be stored on the long-term memory, where knowledge is stored for more permanently. Okay. Now, after information is being stored, this information would later be retrieved. So this is the process of calling stored information when needed. Example, remembering a formula during a test or applying a concept in a real life situation. Okay, let's continue. So these are the terms also used in the cognitive development. Um, so let's look at them one after the other. What is a schema? What are schemas? It says that schemas are mental structures or folder in the brain used to organize and store information. They help us understand and respond to the world based on what we already know. So it says that schemas are like files, a folder in your brain that hold similar types of information or experiences. So just like you have your computer over there, if you want to store music, your document and everything, sometimes you create a folder, and in this folder you put all this information in there. So schema in our brain is like folder where you put so many information in that. Right. So as soon as new information is being, coded, this information are stored in the schemas in the folder in our brain. Okay, so that is a schema, just like folder in our brain. So just take it that way. Now, assimilation. Assimilation is the process of adding new information to an existing schema without changing the schema. It's the process of adding new information to an existing schema without changing the schema. So I already have a folder on my PC. That folder contains music, songs from probably Daddy Lumba, songs from um, Gary Harrison, songs from Chris Brown. Now, as soon as I get new files, like document, like songs from other artists, I can also put these files in the same folder. So that is assimilation, adding new information into the folder. So, for example, a child sees a zebra for the first time and says, "Look, a horse." The reason why the child is calling this zebra a horse is that the child is already having a horse in the folder. So anytime it sees um, any animal, the child considers that one to be a horse. But that is what he has in the folder. And this particularly is about children. This happens when the child already has a schema for horses. So the new animal that is fit into that existing folder. Okay, so the child consider that one to also um, a, a horse. Meanwhile, it is not a horse, but it is an animal. All right. Accommodation. Accommodation. So accommodation is when new experiences cause a person to change or create new schema. So the child's father explains, this is not a horse. It is a zebra. It has black and white strips. Now, the child has now understood that zebra is different from horse. Zebra is different from horse. What is he going to do? Is now going to create another scheme, another folder where zebra is going to be put in there. So in this case, the child doesn't want to put what do you call it, zebra in the folder of horse. So another schema, another folder is going to be created for what they call it, zebra, because the child now understands that zebra is different from horse, and therefore they cannot be in the same folder. All right. That equilibration. Equilibration. Equilibration is the process of balancing assimilation and accommodation to create stable understanding. Okay, so Piaget said learning happens the mind when the mind encounters new information, tries to fit it into existing schemas, and that's assimilation. Adjust. Well, adjust schemas when needed. Accommodation. Return to a balanced state. Equilibration. So, or equilibrium. Equilibration is the mental balance learners achieve after resolving confusion between what they already know and what they newly learn. Okay, so in this case, equilibration is just something to settle confusion between the assimilation and the accommodation. and then at the end everything be balanced. So when the child, sorry, when the child initially said that uh, zebra is the same as a horse, or consider zebra as horse, later he got to know that yes, indeed, zebra is quite different from horse. Therefore, equilibration has actually come in. Mental balance is being achieved over here. Is now able to distinguish between zebra and what they call it, horse. So that is how it is. Now, let's also focus on the Piaget's 4 stages of cognitive development. Sometimes these are key ways or stages we normally see them in the examination. So Piaget proposed that children move through 4 distinct stages of cognitive development. Each stage represents a different way of thinking and understanding the world. So let's take these stages one after the other. These stages also help you to understand your children better. Okay, sometimes we find difficult to understand children because we do not have any idea about what they go through, the stages they go through. And these stages are normal, it is natural. Every child goes through that. So let's try to understand this so that to guide us to live with our children peacefully. No child is stubborn. Just that the stage the child has gotten to, that is how probably they behave. Okay, so understand your children. Now the first stage according to Piaget is that it has sensory motor stage. And that one starts from the day you give birth to your child up to 2 years. That is from birth to 2 years. It's when infants or children learn about the world through their senses and motor actions. You know, this period they develop basic schemas and achieve object permanence or permanence. Now, what is object permanence? That is the understanding that objects continue to exist even when they cannot be seen, usually emerging around, let's say, 6 months. Yeah, around 6 months. You know, if you have observed this, when you go out and probably you come in from outside, and your child asks you, Daddy, I need toffee. When pull your hand in your bag and pull out toffee and give it to your child. Child becomes happy. Next time, when he asks you, Daddy, I need toffee, and you say, No, I don't have toffee this time, the child will not believe. They always think that something exists, even if it is not there. So once you're able to give him or her toffee from your bag, they are still thinking that there is toffee in your bag. Therefore, you must give him or her toffee. So you must understand them. They are thinking that there is toffee. So an object still continue to exist, whether they have eaten it or not. They still think that yes, toffee is still in your bag, or toffee produces a bag produces toffee. So understand them, please. Don't get annoyed when your child continues to ask you for something which you think is not there, but he believes that it is there. Please understand them. Other key development in this stage also include the growth of reflexes, okay, hand-eye coordinations, and then gross motor skills. That is where probably they begin to jump, begin to walk, and begin to, run a bit. Okay, so all this will start develop at this stage. Okay, and early habit information. If infants also begin to explore their environment through try and then error, leading Piaget to describe this kind of children as what? Little scientists. So at this stage, begin to explore the environment. And then, according to Piaget, they are little odd scientists. So we have already talked about object permanence. That is a major achievement over there. Understanding that something still exists, even when they cannot be seen. Example, a child looks for a toy hidden under a blanket because they know it is still there. They know it's still there. Could be that you hid his toy under that blanket and that you have already given it to him or her. That's got him missing. Since you put that toy from under the blanket, the child is still thinking that the toy is still there. No matter what you say, the child will not believe you. Even when you pull out the blanket and he himself sees that there's no toy over there, he will still not believe. That is object permanence. So take note of that. Pre-operational stage. At this stage, also begins from 2 to 7 years. 2 to 7 years. Okay, so the pre-operational stage, which spans from 2 to 7 years, is marked by rapid growth in the child's ability to form schema and engage in symbolic thinking. Symbolic thinking. At this stage, children begin to understand that one thing can represent another. One thing can represent. Okay, at this stage, children begin to understand that one thing can represent another. One thing can represent another. For example, words representing objects or stick representing a sword during play. However, children at this stage or in this stage still have difficulty with theory of mind. Now, what is theory of mind? They believe the ability to understand the thoughts or feelings and perspective of others. So they always think that whatever they see or they understand, that is how it is. No matter what you tell them, no, they will not believe it. They will not believe it. They think that whatever they are thinking or they see is the right thing. They are also largely egocentric. They are egocentric. That is usually young child. They see things from their own point of view and cannot understand another person's perspective. No, they think that whatever they know or they have, that is how it is. There's no way they will understand you. They see things, the world primarily from their own point of view and struggle to represent or appreciate that other may think or feel differently. So if you have difficulties, there's no way your child will feel for you, no. But when they are in pain, they think that yes, they must be or attention must be given to them. So this is not the same as selfish. Selfish is totally bad. But when it comes to egocentric, this is about children, and that is the stage you have got into. And so there's no doubt about that. All right. Okay, so that is concrete stage, and that one also spans from 7 to 11 years. 7 to 11 years. Um, this one occurs between 7 and 11 years. It's when children begin to think logically and solve problems mentally rather than relying on physical trial and error. Okay, so the brain is developing. You're no more, doing things in a manner that they feel that yes, whether it will work or not, no. They are thinking logically, mentally. So their thinking becomes more organized and rational, especially when dealing with rare, tangible objects. A major achievement in this stage is the ability to conserve. What does it mean? Understanding that the quantity of something remains the same even when its appearance changes. For example, they reorganize that water poured into a taller glass is still the same amount. Okay, so it's working. So that is a conservation concept. The term concrete refers to physical hands-on objects while operational refers to logical processes. Put together, children at this stage can think logically and systematically, but their reasoning is still mostly limited to concrete physical situation, not abstract ideas. So this and they think alright, think logically and mentally, but it is not abstract. So that means that the final stage is going to do with the abstract thinking. So as we said, the major achievement over here is conservation, understanding that quantity doesn't change even when the appearance changes. That is it. You also understand you also achieve a reversibility here. That is understanding that action can be reversed. Action can be reversed. So they are maturing. Then decentration. Decentration can focus on several aspects of a problem at once. That's what we call decentration. So you need to understand all these key words so that when you meet them in the examination, you don't find it difficult. All right. This is the final stage of Jean Piaget. And this stage, spans from 11 and above, 11 years and above. So the key features over here is the ability to think abstractly, logically, and then scientifically. They can also perform hypotheses and reason about possibilities, not just reality. Okay. So the major achievement in this stage is what? Abstract reasoning. Abstract reasoning. So if you have a child who is 11 above and cannot think abstractly, according to Piaget, there's something wrong. Example: learners can solve algebra, think about justice, or predict outcome based on theory. Okay, at this stage, child is matured. So when you're dealing with that child, you should be careful how you deal with them. Don't say you're a child and therefore you don't need to be doing this and that. No, they are. Alright, let's boss on. Okay, so this one is about the questions, and then by the close of, by the end of answering all these questions, you understand, things better. Things probably you didn't get it well in the discussion. You can get them here. So let's answer these questions. It says that Jean Piaget is best known for his work on, definitely that the first one, behavioral. So it's about BF Skinner. Social learning, humanistic learning. So we are here to talk about this, the last two. We talk about them later. So basically, Piaget is about cognitive development. Cognitive development. All right. All right. Another one is here. It says that let me bring my pointer. Which of the following correctly shows the sequence of learning processes? Okay. So you take in information, you store the information, and later bring out this information. So you encode it. Coding is about taking in information. You store this information, that is storage, then you retrieve this information when needed as a retriever. So our answer is C. C. Alright. The next one. Says that which of the following best describe encoding the learning process? So as you said, encoding is what? Taking in information. So let's see which of them best fits encoding. Remembering information during examination. So this one is talking about what? Retrieval. Transforming incoming information into usable form. Shall we? Okay. Storing information permanently. So this one is talking about storing information. Organizing previous experience. So basically, we will go for what do you call it? Option B, transforming incoming information into a usable form. So because it says that this information must be information that the brain can understand and also can install. So transforming incoming information into usable form. All right. Okay. Next, which sequences correctly list Piaget stages of uh, stages in order? Okay, stages in order. First one, you know that that is 0 to 2 years a century, 2 to 7 is what pre-operational, 7 to 11 is what concrete, 11 above is what former. So looking at this, our answer will be option B, right? Okay, we are right. So sensory, pre-operational, concrete, and then former. Okay, option B will be the answer. Take note. Okay. Elena, who changes their understanding after new information contradicts an old schema. An old schema is demonstrating. So, the child has already assimilated some information into the schema. Into the schema. Now, new information is being, gotten here, and the child wants to update the old information in the schema. In that case, we call it accommodation. Accommodation. So accommodation is taking new information into an existing schema. All right. The former operational stage is marked by the former operational stage is marked by, yes, it is marked by what? So that is the final stage, right? Final stage, we said that one is marked by. So even if you don't know the logical aspect, we heard that the child at that point achieved what? Abstract reasoning. So you basically could go for logical and abstract reasoning. So option C will be the answer. C will be the answer. Well, let me see if I can also give some assignment. Let's see if this one could serve as a trial work for everybody to try. Okay. So which scale develops during the concrete operational stage? Concrete operational stage. That's the last but one stage. Okay. Hypothetical problem solving. Is that the case? Symbolic thought. Is that the case? Object permanent. Yep. So basically, we go for option B. Option B. All right. All right. Schemas are best described as punishment used to correct behavior. No, you didn't talk about punishment. Mental food are used to organize information. Reinforcement is a pattern of observable behavior now. So mental food are used to organize information. That is schema. Mental food are used to organize information. All right, let's go. Which theories is most closely associated with the cognitive development and cognitivism? So we know basically Jean Piaget maybe is the theories associated with this development. So Jean Piaget. According to cognitivism, Evidence of learning is best shown when learners repeat behavior consistently. Now, a learner changes knowledge stored in memory. So here, once we are talking about cognitivism, anything about cognitivism is about the memory, the brain. Okay. So basically, our answer will be a learner changes knowledge stored in memory. Okay. It's not C, stimulus cause an automatic response now. A teacher applies planning now. So B is the answer. B is the answer. All right. Cognitivism emphasizes that learning occurs primarily through what? Positive reinforcement punishment. This is about behaviorism. Observable behavior changes behaviorism. Trial and error learning. Now that is about the Thorndike aspect. C, mental processing, understanding, and memory. So anything about the brain, the mental, whatever, go for cognitivism. Cognitivism. So C will be our answer. Yes. All right. It looks like we are done. We are done. So please continue to watch the video. Continue to subscribe for you to be able to get the next video. If you have not subscribed, if you have already subscribed in our previous video, please do not type on it. If you type on it, it means that you are unsubscribing. If you have not subscribed, let's type on subscribe. If you have not subscribed, you see it subscribe. But if you have already subscribed, you see it at also what unsubscribe. So take note. You can only type on it when you see subscribe. So our next video is going to be on Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy. So we will talk about humanism and socialism. So right after the Bloom's taxonomy, our next learning chair will be humanism and then socialism. So let's meet in our next video. Thank you.